this idea of free speech or speech on the digital forum not being regulated by free speech and all of this. First of all, free speech protections apply when there's an individual and then there's a state actor, meaning the government, that is impinging on the individual's free speech rights. In the context of Twitter or any other social media, it doesn't apply because these entities are not government state actors. They may be publicly traded companies, and now for the Twitter's instance, it's a private company, and organizations like Mastodon, which I have gotten a recent account on, is connected to nonprofit. So these are entities that are not state actors. They are governed by Section 230 and other laws, federal laws. They are governed by, for public companies, the whatever business laws there are. Other laws as it applies to private companies, and the rules and conditions of these social media platforms, they apply. But the basic fundamentals of what is considered free speech doesn't apply to the social media platform, which is to say that hate speech and speech that is offensive, they're all protected speech. The speech that is not protected is defamation through libel and slander, which is written defamation or spoken defamation, respectively. And then there is incitement of violence, and then there's fighting words, and I think those. I think there may be, but these fighting words, meaning words that are inherently combative, that are intended to incite and cause fights that and incitement. There's the Brandenburg test. I'm going off the top of my head here, so give me a little bit of leeway. Look out First Amendment rights. You're and limitations on it. So if the rules of the First Amendment don't apply, because it's not a state actor and because this is a private platform, it leaves a very precarious place, because the guardrails become arbitrary per platform, and it's decentralized, but not in a good way. There has to come a point where we have to understand that the part of content moderation, while it can go above the protections of the First Amendment, which is this is the first case of first impression. So it's very interesting because on one hand, it's not a non-state actor. On the other hand, these are huge, massive companies that peddle in speech, that moderates speech and stifles speech, while their intention, or the stated intention of this moderation, is to keep abuse down. Now, the question rises, abuse of whom? Because if you suppress speech and content moderate arbitrarily, which Twitter did for a very long time, by allowing what is not constitutionally protected, like incitement of insurrection, incitement of violence, of fighting words, of defamation, these things Twitter has protected against. And it has caused immense amount of damage under the guise of it's a private protected place. But even in a private setting, even inside of a bar, even inside of a crowded theater, That's not legal speech. So there has to be a part of content moderation has to take into consideration that certain speech, while you moderate like hate speech and um, offensive content, which goes beyond the protections of the First Amendment, are commendable. For you to not pay attention to the speech that is purely illegal also does harm. So content moderation has to, it's not obligated to because it's not a state actor, but in order for the whole idea of free speech not to be thrown into disarray by agents of chaos like Donald Trump and foreign state actors or enemy state actors, depending on what country you're in, then the moderators have to pay attention not only to maintaining a friendly environment for their service by moderating abusive and hateful and offensive speech, which Elon Musk is doing less of now, but also equally as importantly, maintain the line of what is allowed in terms of legal speech, like incitement of violence, spreading slanderous lies, libel, and defamatory uh, words about people that cause them harm. This level of intellectual development has to happen with content moderation across platforms.